Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Monday, October 3rd, 2016.
Commissioners Repenning, James, Davis, and Jacinto are present. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Street Services.
Good morning, Tim Tyson, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Chris Smith, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Chris Johnson, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Lloyd Gaines of Sanitation.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Raul Mendoza, Assistant Executive Officer, filling in for Fernando Campos today. President James, we have no speaker cards under general public comment, no cards on the Neighborhood Council commentary, and no cards on any of the items for today's agenda.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mendoza. Then we will close general public comment as well as the Neighborhood Council category of commentary. Our first item of business, the approval of the meeting minutes from the meeting of Wednesday, September 14, 2016. Is there a second to my motion to approve those meeting minutes? By Commissioner Repenning. Any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. Agenda item, let's take care of some of these items that are more brief in the process here. First of all, agenda item number 9, recommending that the board concur with the action of Commissioner Davis, approving the request of Ford EC Incorporated for subcontractor substitution of Vanguard Painting with Macmillan Painting for painting and anti-graffiti work in connection with the South District Sewer Maintenance Yard Project. On agenda item number 9, Chris?
Good morning, Chris Smith, Bureau of Contract Administration, General Services Division. The Bureau received a request from Ford EC on August 2nd, 2016 to substitute Vanguard Painting, their OBE subcontractor, for Macmillan Painting, another OBE. Their request was accompanied by a letter from Vanguard withdrawing from the project because they couldn't comply with the insurance requirements. The bid listed amount for Vanguard's portion of the work was $44,800, and Macmillan will complete Vanguard's portion for the same amount, so there will be no additional cost to the city. And the Bureau recommends our seconds Commissioner Davis's recommendation to approve this substitution.
Any questions on agenda item number 9? Is there a second to Commissioner Davis's motion? By Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 9. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 9 forthwith. Agenda item number 8, recommending that the board concur with the action of Commissioner Davis, approving the request of Colich & Sons, LP, for subcontractor substitution of Robert B. Longway Incorporated with LNA Concrete Structures Incorporated for concrete structures and maintenance holes in connection with the Slauson-Compton Sewer Rehabilitation Project. Mr. Smith on number 8.
Yes, the Bureau received a request from Colich & Sons on August 3rd, 2016 to substitute Robert B. Longway, Inc., their SBE, EBE subcontractor for concrete structures with LNA Concrete Structures, Inc., an MBE, SBE, DBE, EBE subcontractor. Their request was accompanied with a letter from Robert B. Longway, basically withdrawing because Robert B. Longway is retired and he closed up shop. The bid listed amount for Longway's portion of the work was $309,410. LNA will complete Longway's portion for the same amount, so there'll be no additional cost to the city, and the Bureau concurs with Commissioner Davis's recommendation to approve this substitution.
Okay, so any questions on number 8? Okay, Commissioner Santos seconded Commissioner Davis's motion that we adopt agenda item number 8. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 8. Any issue sending number 8 forthwith? We'll send number 8 forthwith. Chris, you're on a roll here. Agenda item number 6, Council District 8, requested acceptance of a contract, 59th Street Alley Emergency Sewer Rehabilitation, completed by Charles King Company Incorporated. Mr. Smith on number 6.
Yes, this project was awarded on October 30th, 2012, completed June 10th, 2014, consisted of rehabilitating 600 linear feet of a 59-inch sewer that was built in 1915, a brick sewer. It's a pretty unique project. Due to the emergency nature of the work, there were no specific outreach requirements. There are no unresolved property or financial issues, and the Bureau recommends acceptance.
Agenda item number 6. Any questions on number 6? No unresolved issues on number 6?
Correct.
Okay, then I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 6, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto and Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 6. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 6 forthwith. Mr. Spindler, you've submitted a couple of cards after the items have been called, and the agenda specifically states that for speaking on any items, you need to submit it before the items are called. What I typically, I'm lenient in the sense that once people are speaking on the items, I'll let additional cards come in. But once the Bureau's called on the item and the Bureau begins its presentation, then I don't accept speaker cards on the item once the Bureau has started presenting. So if any cards that you want to get in, just get them in when you come in. Agenda item number 5, Mr. Smith on number 5. Requested contract acceptance, Bureau of Contract Administration, Bureau of Engineering, Council District 14, requested acceptance of a contract. Mr. Spindler, are you going to put a card in on number 5?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Acceptance of a contract, air treatment facility, East Central Interceptor Sewer, Mission and Jesse, completed by Metro and Builders and Engineers Group Limited. Mr. Spindler, although your card says Mr. PIG, Mr. Spindler, on number 5. I guess that would be your character there. Go ahead, sir.
The pig's going to talk about it.
Thank you. Why are we working on Rosh Hashanah? You racist pigs. Everybody that's Jewish is not working in City Hall. But all of you are working while we go to temple. And my fellow Hebrew friends who do not eat pork, which is good for my brothers and sisters, are not working. Why is this panel working? Because nobody here on the panel is Jewish. Discrimination, anti-Semites, pigs. So, why are we working on number 5 today? Continue all items till the holiday's over. The whole council's on recess. Everybody's on recess. Budget and finance is on recess. Yes. Even Herb Wesson's on recess, who converted to Judaism on Friday to avoid being indicted. So I'm so glad. Welcome, Herb Wesson. Hoya, hoya, hoya. So, again, this is an improper, illegal meeting on a very, very holy day for many. Cancel this meeting, reschedule until all are done in their worship and faith of the new year, the real new year. Not that fucked up shit in January, but the real new year, which is in November. It's in the text of the Old Testament. Even you Christians know that shit. So please, no more of these. Show your support for the Hebrew and Jewish communities today.
On agenda item number 5, Mr. Smith.
Yes. The board awarded this contract on November 28, 2012, and it was completed July 31st, 2015. This contract constructed the third and last air treatment facility required by the Collection System Settlement Agreement. The contractor complied with all of the outreach requirements of the contract. There was no PLA on this contract. There are no unresolved financial or property issues, and the Bureau recommends acceptance.
Any questions on agenda item number 5? I don't have any questions on number 5. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 5. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioners Jacinto and Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 5. Any issues sending number 5 forthwith? We'll send number 5 forthwith. Did we send, Mr. Mendoza, did we send number 6 forthwith?
Yes, you did.
Okay, thank you. Okay, agenda item number 1, Council District 12, requested hardship waiver from the above ground facility ordinance 23801, West Roscoe Boulevard, recommending that the board, 1, approve the request for a hardship waiver from the below-grade requirement of the Los Angeles Municipal Code, Section 62.08.II.A, adjacent to 23801 West Roscoe Boulevard, and 2, authorize AT&T to install a cabinet 31.5 inches high by 25 inches wide by 19.9 inches deep in the public right-of-way adjacent to 23801 West Roscoe Boulevard. Mr. Spindler, you've put in a card for your pig character.
Yeah, I remember this issue. So, Pepita Pig, what do you know about it? So go ahead.
Well, CD12, yes, it's represented by a Jewish person, and nobody is working their staff today. This is bullshit. So, do we really want a cabinet next to residences and businesses with that fan on all the time going brrrr, 24/7 brrrr. That fucking cabinet is going to be making that noise every day for the next millennium. Brrrr. And then you have the digital Wi-Fi shit that comes out, and that is electrocuting other people because the meter is electronically wirelessly metered. So you have the Wi-Fi giving the radiation off and the noise from the cabinet. Why do we want this bullshit on Roscoe Boulevard? None of us want it. We'll take a poll. Anybody want this? See, nobody wants it. Except you and the campaign donations. You want it because AT&T to you is always the right choice for campaign donations. You know the commercial?
For donations to campaigns, the right choice, AT&T.
But for everybody else, AT&T's a piece of shit. We don't want this cabinet. Get this cabinet the fuck off of our land. We're like the Sioux Indians. We're being invaded by AT&T like the fucking Indians and the goddamn oil companies. No more cabinets. No more cabinets. This must end. This treachery must stop. Make them put it somewhere else in the mountains, far, far away from Pepita Pig.
2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler, on number 1. Mr. Ledoux on number 1.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Ledoux. I work for Bureau of Engineering Central District. As I stated, this is an AT&T high-speed internet cabinet adjacent to 23801 West Roscoe Boulevard. It is within the Valley Circle Boulevard and Plummer Street Scenic Corridor specific plan. The planning department is remaining neutral on this. Essentially, their specific plan doesn't deal with cabinets in the public right-of-way. It is also in Council District 12, Mitch Englander's district. The council office is remaining neutral on this. I have received no phone calls or emails one way or other on this particular item, and no one has appealed it.
So regarding the zone of notification where the notifications went out to the adjacent property owners, no response one way or the other?
None whatsoever.
Okay, how many, was there the board report referenced a second notification?
There was 4 lots notified by both AT&T and also by myself.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Jeff, thank you for the report. Just for the record, what does the above-ground facility cabinet contain, sir?
It contains passive fiber optics. It is not wired up with electricity. It has no emissions.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further on agenda item number 1? Commissioner Jacinto's made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 1, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item, I said number 1. We are on number 1. I'm sorry, I was accurate. Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Any issue sending number 1 forthwith? We'll send number 1 forthwith. Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 2 in Council District 11. Tree removal at 12777 West Jefferson Boulevard. First of all, recommending that the board find that the tree removal, A, classifies as operation, repair, maintenance, or minor alteration of existing street, sidewalk, and gutter involving negligible or no expansion of use beyond that previously existing, and 2, does not involve the removal of a scenic resource. Number 2, or B, I should say, that the action is exempt under Article 3, Section 1, Class 1, Category 3, existing facilities, sidewalk repair, or maintenance of the City of Los Angeles Environmental Quality Act guidelines from 2002. C, that none of the exceptions to the use of a categorical exemption as set forth in Section 15300.2 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines apply. And then number 2, review and approve this no-fee tree removal permit request for 6 Indian laurel fig trees, those are ficus trees, for the reconstruction of an off-grade public sidewalk. Tree replacements are required, and Mr. Spindler, for your character here, Mr. Pig, you have a card on number 2.
Again, all of you are the biggest tree killers in America, killing good, solid trees for your developer compact donor friends. Every time, every week, this time it's on Jefferson Boulevard. Where's Jefferson Boulevard go east and west? It goes from the poor black neighborhoods west to the ocean. And you know those rich motherfuckers over there in CD 11 on that side of Jefferson, they have to kill more trees so they can build more of those condos and small lot subdivisions out of what used to be the Bologna wetlands. Remember that when you were kids? All 4 of you fuckers were kids, and you used to go out there and see the miles and miles and miles of scenic routes and wetlands and birds. That's what used to be on Jefferson Avenue all the way to Culver to the ocean. Today, it's all fucking houses and condos and all this stuff. Wall Street building all this shit with junk bonds. So now, time to kill more trees. I need to kill more trees. Okay, I need to kill another 50. Okay, why don't we just kill all the fucking trees? Just take a buzzsaw today and just kill every city fucking tree today, and then you can retire knowing you took 90% of our canopy cover away. You cannot replace canopy cover. You never call the engineering and geology department for the forestry division because you people know you're illegally violating the charter by getting rid of excess canopy cover. The pig knows this because pigs like trees. We sit under trees and read books.
2 minutes.
Note of this shit.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. On number 2, Mr. Tyson.
President James, Commission. Good morning. Commissioners, Bureau representatives, City Attorney, and Executive Officer. Russell Gould from Vantage Property Investors, Property Owner Representatives, applied to the Bureau of Engineering for a Class A permit to reconstruct the off-grade sidewalk condition at 12777 West Jefferson Boulevard. Bureau of Engineering informed Mr. Gould that the sidewalk reconstruction may require street tree removals. A Bureau arborist inspected the subject location on March 21st, 2016. The inspection revealed 6 Indian laurel fig trees growing in front of 12777 Jefferson Boulevard. The trees measure approximately 16 to 24 inches in diameter at chest height by 25 to 35 feet in height, growing in 3-foot by 5-foot tree wells. The roots and root crowns of the subject trees has significantly contributed to the defective condition of the public sidewalk. Due to the minimal tree well size, root pruning of these trees would significantly and adversely affect the tree's health and root structural integrity, leaving them unstable. Sidewalk reconstruction will require the removal of the 6 trees. The CFAC was contacted on May 26th, as well as the Bureau of Street Services removal notification system was sent out that the hearing would be today. Debbie Diner Harrisfield, Deputy 11th Council District Office, was informed of the tree removal request on the same date, May 26th. The trees were posted on March 23rd, 2016. Due to this being a voluntary application for improvements to the sidewalks, the applicant shall replant 6 24-inch box size African fern pine trees at the location and will be allowed to deliver 6 15-gallon size fern pine to the Bureau's nursery to replace the removed trees. All trees shall be watered by the abutting property owner for a minimum of a period of 3 years. With that, Urban Forestry Division or the Bureau of Street Services is asking the board to consider the proposed removal of these trees.
Any questions regarding agenda item number 2 of Mr. Tyson? I don't have any questions either. Thank you for the comprehensive report, Mr. Tyson. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 2. Is there a second on number 2? Commissioner Davis, any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 2. Any issue sending number 2 forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith. Agenda item number 3 in Council District 11, requested tree removal 2437 North West Ridge Road. This is in the sidewalk repair program. Recommending that the board first find that the tree removal, A, classifies as operation, repair, maintenance, or minor alteration of existing street, sidewalk, and gutter involving negligible or no expansion of use beyond that previously existing and does not involve the removal of the scenic resource. B, that the action is exempt under Article 3, Section 1, Class 1, Category 3, existing facilities, sidewalk repair or maintenance of the City of Los Angeles Environmental Quality Act guidelines from 2002, and 3, that none of the exceptions to the use of a categorical exemption as set forth in Section 15300.2 of the California Environmental Quality Act CEQA guidelines apply. And secondly, review and approve this no-fee tree removal permit request for 4 American sweet gum trees for the reconstruction of an off-grade public sidewalk. Tree replacements are required. Mr. Spindler, you have a card in for your character, Mr. Pig, on number 3.
Good. Yeah, yes, the pig is a little upset.
I'm fucking pissed about the trees.
So, a little emotional, so I'll take over on this one. You know, I don't know, like, everybody told me after Willits was settled, somebody told me that you were going to start cutting down trees as an excuse for sidewalk repairs so you don't have to maintain as many trees. And unfortunately, you're doing exactly what they predicted. You're using something to gain an advantage on something. And what you're doing is you're reducing the city's canopy cover. You have a city Department of Forestry, it's online, they issued a whole report on this, that the city's canopy cover needs to be increased. And you're decreasing it by making horseshit excuses that you have to kill these trees to make a fucking sidewalk repair. Every city in America makes sidewalk repairs and saves the trees except you guys. You bankrupt motherfuckers. That's all you do is you see a little root go up and you go, oh, we got to kill the tree, we got to grind the stump down and replace it so they can give you a couple of bucket trees in a fucking yard somewhere in the San Fernando Valley, and they're not going to water those trees. Then you're going to plant those box trees and they're going to be dead. Just like what you did over in CD1 when I made them come back and replant all those fucking trees, you know, much to the cost and chagrin of the city. You know, I thought a guy with asthma would have enough fucking sense to know that you got to save every tree possible. A guy that grows up with asthma that knows that trees take toxins out of the air is killing the very thing that reduces pollutants and air particulates. A guy with asthma, and even a guy with asthma can't fucking figure this out. You got to save these trees, but what you're going to do is you're just going to go with the developers and the donors and all your bullshit, and you're going to kill a record amount of trees, just like you're doing with affordable housing. This city sucks like shit.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Mr. Tyson on agenda item number 3. And feel free to comment on the nature of the sidewalk uplift at this specific sidewalk repair location.
I will, Commissioner. The Bureau of Engineering is the lead agency in identifying and repairing defective sidewalks at several locations throughout the city of Los Angeles as part of the sidewalk repair program. Bureau of Engineering and its contractors are working in close collaboration with the Bureau of Street Services in addressing potential impacts to street trees adjacent to targeted locations. Joseph B. Maury, BOE representative, Bureau of Engineering, contacted the Bureau in reference to the reconstruction and off-grade sidewalk condition at 2437 Northwest Ridge Road, bounded by Rayan Drive to the north and Bayless Drive to the south. The Bureau of Street Services Urban Forestry Division arborist inspected the subject location on May 24, 2016. The inspection revealed 4 American sweet gum, liquid amber styrictiflua trees located in front of the property. The trees are measuring an average of 14 inches in diameter at chest height by 36 feet in height and are in fair health. The trees have outgrown their 3-foot planting space provided, causing the severe off-grade conditions to the public sidewalk. The sidewalks will be removed and replaced due to the uplift and severe disruption of the roots and root crowns of the subject trees. The required root pruning to allow the trees to remain would significantly and adversely affect the trees' root structural integrity, leaving them potentially unstable. Debbie Diner Harris, 11th Council District Office Representative, was informed of the tree removal request on June 28, 2016. Notice of the proposed tree removals was physically posted on the subject trees on May 24, 2016. Proposed tree removals were included in the Bureau of Street Services tree removal notification system, and the Community Forest Advisory Committee was also notified. I have to read in and amend the tree planting and watering conditions that were in the report, if that's okay, Commissioner.
Yes, go ahead, please.
It will change to: the city's tree replacement policy shall be fulfilled by the planting of the following: 6 24-inch box size crepe myrtle trees will be planted at 2437 West Ridge Road. 1 will be planted at 2410, and 1 will be planted at 2419 West Ridge Road to satisfy the 2-to-1 policy. All tree replacements shall be planted by Office of Community Beautification. The Urban Forestry Division shall begin weekly watering of the tree replacements upon tree planting confirmation from Office of Community Beautification. Tree watering shall continue for a period of 3 years. And if you look at the photos that were provided, you can see that these trees in the small 3-foot parkway seriously have raised and lifted those sidewalks up, and in order to cut those buttress roots to save the trees would actually fall over. Those are some major anchoring roots to the trees. Highly not advisable, and so therefore I'm requesting the board, the proposed application for tree removal be approved.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tyson. Commissioner Repenning.
Hi, Tim. You just read the replacement locations into the record, correct?
Yes.
For all 8?
Yes.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure. I'm glad that you did that, because I was going to ask, because I think it's really important that, and normally you do in the board reports when you're going slightly off-site, which I see we have to do here, that we have those locations in the report so that we can be on record for what we're planning to do. Especially as it relates to our own sidewalk repair program. I also wanted to ask about the status of the watering. I know we're kind of just getting up and running on this overall program and the way things are going to work. I know we're talking about street services taking on the watering at some point. I'm just wondering what the status of that is. The reason I'm asking is that the way that it's framed here, which is that the contractor will water until OCB takes over. Ideally, for me, it would be a little tighter than that so that we don't have to wonder exactly who's watering and when that's going to start and end.
We have a couple more reports that were written right around the same time this was, and they're coming to board soon. But as I read amended it, Office of Community Beautification will be planting the trees, and immediately a week later, the Bureau of Street Services will start watering the trees. And that will be in the reports. I have two more that were already written that I'm going to have to do the same thing I'm doing here right now, which is amend them because they're already in line and already set up. But then this will also be in every report thereafter where the locations will all be spelled out because we have the locations already. And these two trees are on the same street. They're going to be planted on the same street. So all the trees are going back into the same little general vicinity.
Okay, so Street Services is ready to start taking on the watering then.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. And I just want to thank everyone who's been working on this, from our board president, Jen Pope from the mayor's office, Street Services. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tyson. Commissioner Jacinto.
Yep, thank you. Mr. Tyson, quick question. So as we begin our sidewalk repair program, can you explain how this particular site got into the system or how it got flagged for action?
Per the report, Bureau of Engineering is the lead agency in identifying these locations. And so we are given these locations from Bureau of Engineering, and we go out and then do our part, which is inspect and determine what we feel would be the impacts to the trees and how that relates to fixing the sidewalks.
Appreciate that. Because of the issue of the sidewalk, the off-grade or access issues related to the sidewalk repair program, this site was internally identified as needed to be addressed, and so therefore necessitates the removal of the trees.
That is correct, Commissioner, and I actually agree that this site needs to be fixed.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Cinto. I would add one point in response to Commissioner Cinto, is that the ADA compliance officer related to the Willett settlement makes determinations along with the Bureau of Engineering regarding some of the most at-need areas of the city for access. And then they, together with the Bureau of Engineering, put some of these sites in the queue, basically, depending on a number of factors. So as you hit on, accessibility is a key factor, and as a result of the Willett settlement. I would mention, Mr. Tyson, because I think the point was made earlier, describing the conflict that we face with the sidewalk repair program. We have to meet the federal requirements of the Americans with Disabilities Act. We are under a court order to do so as a result of the Willett settlement. That does result in a conflict with our strong desire and the purpose of your division, the Urban Forestry Division, to maintain and indeed to grow the city's canopy. An urban canopy is critical to the importance of health as well as the environment itself. So what I would like to do, just because I think it will be helpful for the record and it's a refresher course really for us and for everyone, is to agendize in an upcoming meeting, and Commissioner Repenning noted that Jennifer Pope from the Mayor's Office, who's the Mayor's Office lead on these tree policy issues with Willets, is here. I think it would be helpful really for an update on where we are with whether it's yourself in tandem with Mr. Lorenzen, to give the board and the public an update on where we are with the overall and overarching policy of maintaining and growing our tree canopy while implementing a $1.4 billion 30-year sidewalk repair plan under the requirements of the Willett settlement. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you. So anything further on number 3? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 3, seconded by Commissioner Repenning. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Any issues sending number 3 forthwith? We'll send number 3 forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Tyson. Agenda item number 4. Council District 3, tree removal for 7505 Owensmouth Avenue. Recommending that the board first, and there are a number of requests here, 6 of them, certify that the board has reviewed and considered the information in the mitigated negative declaration for the project at 7505 Owensmouth Avenue and find the information contained therein appropriately addresses the requested tree removals, which is here. Number 2, find that this project will not have a significant environmental effect under the above described mitigated negative declaration, as the imposition of the mitigation measures described in the MND and incorporated herein as project conditions. There is no substantial evidence the proposed project will have a significant effect on the environment pursuant to the city's environmental guidelines and is in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. Number 3, find that the project's conflict with any local policies or ordinances protecting biological resources, such as tree preservation policies or ordinances, is found to be less than significant with the incorporation of the mitigation measures that are listed in the agenda as contained in the MND. Adopt the MND. Number 5, that was number 4. Number 5, specify that the Bureau of Street Services Urban Forestry Division, located at 1149 South Broadway, is custodian of the documents or other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And number 6, approve the request for a fee tree removal permit for 1 valley oak tree, 1 coast live oak tree, 6 Mexican fan palms, and 1 tree of heaven tree due to planned construction of a 4-parcel subdivision and for required street widening to comply with the Bureau of Engineering conditions that are relative to the city planning case AA-2012-3236-PMLA. Tree replacements are required. On number 4, Mr. Spindler, you have put in a card for your Mr. Pig character.
I know this area very well. It's a heavily, heavily congested, over-densified area, Canoga Park, Sherman Way, towards Topanga Canyon. So there's a nice pocket park. Why isn't the city buying this land and making a park? Look, there are no fucking parks for miles around. What you're going to do, you have to have another 4-parcel subdivision. 4 more of these box fucked up houses when you have a perfect pocket park available to purchase and give to the community. You took all of these businesses out to put your orange line shit in there with all your little traffic lights and everything. This place is so heavily congested and over-densified. You have only Lanark Street as a park, but you have no dog parks, you have no walking parks, you have nowhere for children to play, you have nowhere for elderly people to read. You're just going to go in there and chop every fucking tree down so you can build 4 more of your box cubed shit houses. So 4 big fat stupid motherfuckers can pay $800,000 for something that's going to be worth $400,000 in the next stock market crash. You know who's going to own this? The bank's going to own it. You want to know who's going to buy one of them? Me, when I buy it for $250 cash at the next auction. Okay? That's part of what I do every 10 fucking years. That's what the Jews do. See, I'm 1/8 fucking Jew. I know how this works. Buy this and make it a park. You're already over-densified. There should be a park there. You don't have to cut anything down, but you bastards are going to take and widen the street under the guise of making a sidewalk so you can destroy every tree and over-densify an already over-impacted neighborhood. And you have the fucking nerve to say that it's complying with a community development. It's not complying with shit. It's complying with campaign donors.
Thank you, Mr.
Fuck
Spindler.
this project. Fuck you.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler. Mr. Tyson on agenda item number 4.
Back again.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Mr. George Baraki, developer, is in the process of constructing 4 single-family residences at 7505 North Owensmouth Street. The lot has a total of 23,924 square feet and will be subdivided into 4 new lots for construction of 4 single-family residences. The proposed project anticipates the removal of trees protected by the Los Angeles Municipal Code, Section 4600. Protected trees and parkway trees may be required. Mr. Baraki acquired the services of Mr. Jeffrey Trojanowski, landscape architect and certified arborist, to provide an assessment of the property and to address the proposed project's impacts on protected and parkway trees. Mr. Trojanowski inspected the property on October 31st, 2015 and found 2 protected trees on the subject property, 1 valley oak, Quercus lobata, tree measuring approximately 46 inches in diameter by 48 feet in height, and 1 coast live oak, Quercus agrifolia tree measuring approximately 7 inches in cumulative diameter by 10 foot in height in fair condition. A Bureau arborist inspected the location on April 15, 2015 and found the trees and the property condition are as stated in the protected tree report. The 2 protected trees will be severely impacted by the required excavation for foundations and grading needed to construct the proposed homes. In the unimproved parkway on the Owensmouth Avenue side, there are 6 Mexican fan palms, Washingtonia robusta, measuring approximately 24 inches in diameter by 75 feet in height and are in good condition. 1 multi-trunk tree of heaven, Ailanthus altissima, measuring approximately 22 inches in diameter by 20 feet in height, also is in the parkway. Contained in the entitlements are Bureau of Engineering requirements included street widening, sidewalk reconstruction, and landscaping. The developer opines several street trees adjacent to the development would be severely impacted by the required improvements. The Bureau of Engineering condition number 3 requires the developer to widen Owensmouth Avenue from a 19 feet half roadway to a 30 feet half roadway. The required roadway widening will necessitate the removal of the 7 street trees. Therefore, the Bureau recommends the board approve the tree removal permit for 6 Mexican fan palms and 1 tree of heaven to allow for the project's street widening conditions. And the 2 protected trees are growing within the property. Department of City Planning prepared an MND case, Environmental 2012-3237, mitigated negative declaration for the project finding. Michael Owens, Director of the Community Affairs and Infrastructure for the 3rd Council District Office, was informed of the tree removal request on September 22, 2016. The Council Office will notify the Bureau of any tree removal permit objections received. CFAC was also contacted on September 22nd regarding the proposed tree removals. The street trees were posted on March 16, 2015. The applicant shall plant 4 48-inch box-size coastal live oaks, Quercus agrifolia, and 4 24-inch box-size coast live oak trees on the site to replace the removed trees. The survival of all subject coast live oak trees shall be guaranteed for a period of 3 years by bond. The coast live oak trees shall be provided irrigation for a minimum of 1 year after planting. Upon issuance of the protected tree removal permit, the Bureau shall be notified a minimum of 10 days prior to the day the protected tree removal shall occur. The applicant tree expert shall be on site the day of the tree removal to ensure the proper trees are removed. A Bureau arborist will arrange an on-site meeting with the applicant, their tree expert, the following day, and to ensure that the protected trees, correct ones, are removed. In conjunction with the project's landscape architect or tree expert, shall be responsible to ensure the tree removal permits, tree replacement conditions are in compliance. Replacement tree planting shall follow the landscape plan to the fullest extent possible. The Bureau shall be notified no later than 5 days after the completion of the tree replacements. A Bureau arborist will make arrangements to visit the site and approve the tree replacements as being in compliance with the permit conditions within 5 working days of the notification of the planting. For the replacement of the removed parkway trees, the applicant shall plant in the parkway 14 24-inch box-size pink trumpet trees in locations to be determined at a later date by the Bureau. The reason for this is all of the different utilities and things like that have to be moved around, and we won't know exactly the placement of if they put streetlights in, and so we do feel that all 14 trees would be able to be replaced with the size of the frontage of the property. In order to widen the street 11 feet, it will run right into the palm trees that are there, and it will require their removal. Due to the high density, it is suggested, and this being a corner property, to start this street widening in this area for improvements for the future.
Thank you, Mr. Tyson. Just to confirm for the record that the trees that are the subject of the tree removal permit are appropriately referenced in the mitigated negative declaration that I have attached, correct?
Yes, they are. They're also, it talks about the tree report, and 2 of the trees at the time the tree report was done were actually too small, and so today we had an addendum to the report, not to the MND, but an addendum to the tree report done, and we found out that the 2 small Quercus agrifolia trees that were not 4 inches in diameter cumulatively actually are now, and we are actually having them plant 48-inch box-sized trees for the large tree and 24-inch box-sized trees 4-to-1 for the smaller tree.
Okay, thank you for that update and clarification. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Mr. Tyson, thanks again. I have a question regarding the applicant. New Economics for Women, I understand them to be an affordable housing developer. And so I want to ask a question whether we have that on record, whether or not the proposed development of 4 single-family residences will be targeting low to moderate income families, or do we know that, sir?
Yes, my understanding is this is a low-income housing development.
Okay. So, colleagues, I would say that the need for affordable housing or workforce housing and first-time home buyers is an important aspect of the continuum of our city's home ownership, and is therefore a very important development. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto, for pointing that out. I think that's important to include as well. Anything further? Any further questions? All right. Is there, Commissioner Jacinto's made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 4. I'll second the motion along with Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 4. Any issue sending number 4 forthwith? We'll send number 4 forthwith. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Agenda item number 7. Council District 6, requested contract award, Bureaus of Engineering and Contract Administration, the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant Chlorine Contact Tank Gate Actuators, recommending that the board first declare Lead Electric Incorporated, the first low bidder, to be non-responsive as discussed in this report. Number 2, declare Keywood Infrastructure West Company, second low bidder, to be the lowest responsible bidder and award them a contract for the project for $607,000. And 3, authorize myself or 2 members of the Board of Public Works Board to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. On number 7, we have a Bureau representative. Is it Ms. So? Go ahead.
Sorry, President James, we did receive a speaker card after you started calling the item.
That's fine. If it's from Mr. Spindler, his time is out. He maxed out on agenda items 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That puts him over the 10 minutes. So, Ms. So, go ahead.
Good morning. Amy So from the Bureau of Engineering's Environmental Engineering Division. We're requesting contract award for the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant Chlorine Contact Tank Gate Actuators Project. And specifically, we're recommending that the board declare Lead Electric Incorporated the first low bidder to be non-responsive, as I will discuss. To secondly, declare Kiewit Infrastructure West Company the second low bidder to be the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, and award Kiewit the contract for the project in the amount of $607,000. And thirdly, authorize the president or two members of the board to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained by the city attorney. The chlorine contact tanks at the Tillman plant are used as part of the tertiary treatment process, and these tanks allow for the adequate contact time, which is about 2 hours, for proper disinfection of the treated wastewater. And then the effluent is dechlorinated so that it can be beneficially reused at the plant, as well as discharged to surrounding water bodies, such as the Japanese Garden Lake, the Wildlife Lake, the Balboa Lake, as well as the LA River. This project will install actuators on 10 of the existing slide gates in and around the chlorine contact tanks, and it will also include some modifications to the gates to accommodate the actuators. The actuators are devices which will allow the gates to automatically open and close, and the project will also include electrical and instrumentation work to provide power to the actuators and signals to the plant's control system. The project was advertised and 3 bids were received on January 6th of 2016. All the bids were found to be non-responsive. The first and second low bidders did not meet the mandatory subcontracting minimum, and the second and third low bidders did not meet the business inclusion program requirements. All of the bids were rejected on March 2nd of 2016, and then the project was immediately re-advertised. 6 bids were received on March 30th, 2016. The first low bidder, which was Lead Electric Incorporated, did not meet the mandatory subcontracting minimum. They were credited 20.59%, and the required mandatory subcontracting minimum was 25%. The second low bidder, Kiewit Infrastructure West Company, did meet the mandatory subcontracting minimum as well as all other contracting requirements. 1 communication was received on this project, and the Bureau of Contract Administration, Office of Contract Compliance, notified Lead, the first low bidder, that they did not meet the mandatory subcontracting minimum, and therefore may be found non-responsive. And that was in a letter to Lead on April 15th of 2016. That's transmittal number 2. Lead submitted a letter to the Office of Contract Compliance, and that was dated April 18th, 2016. That is transmittal number 3. In that letter, Lead provides a breakdown of the cost listed for one of their subcontractors, which is a company called Southwest Valve and Equipment. And they show the breakdown for materials cost, witness testing and training, as well as taxes. They also indicate in their letter that Southwest Valve and Equipment is the source of the Rotork actuators for this project, as Rotork, the manufacturer, does not sell their products directly to contractors. And they also indicate in their letter that they subcontracted out as much work as possible to their other subcontractor, 316 Engineering. And because Lead is an electrical contractor, they did not receive quotes from other electrical contractors for the electrical scope of work. After a review of the information provided, the Bureau of Contract Administration was not able to grant any additional subcontracting credit. And so we do have a representative from Contract Administration available to answer any questions regarding the evaluation process. Both bidders 1 and 2, Lead and Kiewit, did agree to extend their bid bonds till October 7th. And unless any additional information is presented, it was determined that Kiewit is the lowest responsive and responsible bidder.
Commissioner Repenning? Thank you, Ms. So. Commissioner Repenning?
Sure. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the business inclusion levels. I'm a little bit concerned that Kiewit didn't do a better job in trying to meet the goals set. Specifically, I see a lot of zeros. And I'm also looking at the table on page 5 that talks about, they're a company that we work with a lot. right? So they've gotten 7 projects with us. I know they work with other city agencies as well. You know, it looks like they've done okay in terms of the WEB levels that they've achieved overall, but it definitely seems like they could be doing more. And, you know, I understand they're a local business, and that's good for the local economy in terms of this contract. But I wonder if there's a way that we can let Kiewit know that when we set goals, we really expect folks to try to meet them. So I don't know if you want to comment on this project, or I guess specifically this project. I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Sure, I guess I can speak about the nature of the work for this project, which is majority of the work is electrical work. It's also taking place at an actively operating wastewater treatment plant. And so in general, in the industry at this time, there are lower amounts of the women, minority, and other types of business enterprises. But we hope that in the future, these numbers will increase. But the type of work is highly specialized in nature.
What is this OBE refer to, the 27%?
Sure. OBE stands for Other Business Enterprise.
Right. But what does that mean in terms of this contract?
Perhaps Bureau of Contract Administration can help to answer that question.
And before we go to Ms. McGlinchey on this, I would like the record to reflect LEED's numbers as well. The report indicates that LEED has zeros in the MB and WBE as well, which would tend to at least add to the discussion. But Ms. McGlinchey, go ahead with Commissioner Repenning's question on OBE regarding this project.
Good morning, Linda McGlinchey, Bureau of Contract Administration. With regards to the Business Inclusion Program, an OBE, as Amy said, is an other business enterprise. That is a firm that is not certified as a minority or women-owned business. That's not to say that they could be minority or women-owned, but they have not gone through a formal certification process where we know that the owners own and control the business as such.
Okay, so I'm just trying to find something positive. I mean, I think for me it's more about the overall track record with this firm and with the ones that we do business with regularly. And I understand that in the construction, electrical industries, there is a lack of workforce diversity, a lack of, you know, but if there's a way that that message could be conveyed, that would be ideal.
Thank you, Commissioner Repenning. Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, and I understand the issue that has been raised by Commissioner Repenning in terms of even, in fact, when we get these contracts, our core value is still to try to have some kind of inclusiveness, and we understand what the rules and the regulations are as far as responsible bidder and the decisions therein. However, as we look at some of the issues that have been raised by the President in terms of this particular contract, we see that there are 0 MBE and WBE for both candidates who have submitted proposals. And at the same time, we see that there is SBE 18% and emerging business enterprises 18% on behalf of LEED. Now, the issue was raised by a representative from Bureau of Engineering that, in fact, LEED did not, Kiewit did not sublet specifically electrical engineering work out because they provide that service themselves. Is that true?
No, Commissioner Davis. Actually, it was LEED that said that they could not subcontract out electrical work because that is their majority of the work that they perform. Their claim in their communication to us for not meeting the MSM was that they could not get any subcontractors in the electrical field to submit a bid to them.
That's what LEED said.
That's what LEED said.
So having said that, then, it raises the issue about the opportunities that exist in terms of emerging and small business enterprises that clearly were selected by lead. And so, in fact, Kiewit, to Commissioner Repenning's point, did not even include any emerging businesses and small business enterprises in their proposal before us. Now, obviously, we have to consider who had outreach and who responded to the outreach that Kiewit did. But equally, this is a local funded project, not a federally funded project. Is that correct?
Correct.
Having said that, and then you talked about the mandatory subcontracting minimum, which was, what was the mandatory subcontracting minimum?
25%.
And Kiewit achieved that?
Yes.
How did they achieve that?
Through various subcontractors, but they, as listed in the board report, actually primarily through one, Big Sky Electric, they achieved a 27% subcontracting minimum.
Okay, because this is a locally funded project, obviously the inclusion of small businesses and of course emerging businesses is increasingly important versus if it were in fact a federally funded construction project. So to Commissioner Repenning's point, we would love to have the spirit of inclusion of the various businesses that are a part of our local funded community, given the difference between federally and locally funded construction projects. And so I do understand, based upon the ruling on the responsible bidder, that Kiewit is the choice, but still we would like very much to have the inclusion whenever it is possible. And in this case, we do see that while Kiewit has done the MSM, we don't have, as we look at our chart of the very constituent variables that we have to choose from, such as specifically small business enterprising, number one, and then number two, emerging business enterprising. We'd love to see more usage of those in the contracts that we have from someone that is a long-term prime contractor for the city of Los Angeles. And I think that that is the point. And I know that this is a complex issue. Nonetheless, we want to push prime contractors to do all that we can do so that we can be all that we can be. And so I think that that is the point here.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. I would ask another question regarding what might be a discretionary attempt to save the taxpayers a little bit of money here based on what I see. And that is the reference by, and so I'm talking about looking at LEED versus Kiewit. And Mr. Jordan, do we have discretion to go with the lowest bidder LEED, even though they did not meet the mandatory subcontracting minimum? Although I'm going to get to that issue in a second.
Well, based on the report, it does appear that LEED was non-responsive. However, in situations, if the board finds that the deviation from the responsiveness was minor or inconsequential, and if there's no indication that it gave them a competitive advantage, then that minor or inconsequential deviation can be waived and a contract awarded to the lowest bidder. But it requires the board to waive that defect.
All right, so I'll get to the competitive advantage issue in a minute. But so either Ms. So or Ms. McGlinchey, LEED makes an issue in the attachment that we have regarding Southwest valve and equipment listed cost. And they are essentially, there's a claim here of maybe a supplier versus a broker. Is that what, and they're claiming that because the Southwest valve might be a broker, so they don't count as a subcontractor. But they're saying, hey, wait a minute, I think they said everybody, let's see, structural work, mechanical, unfortunately is electrical, 25%. Southwest Valve was the only source of rotorque actuator for us and everyone else, since the factory does not sell their products to the contractor directly. Does that have any bearing here in how they missed the MSM by less than 5%, Ms. McGlinchey?
No, it does not, because Southwest Valve is considered a broker based on the definition of what they do and how they handle the product that they provide. And for that matter, they don't provide product exclusively for that one manufacturer. They have a whole list of manufacturers that they provide various products for as a broker. A broker being someone who never takes possession of the product, simply calls the manufacturer and has it delivered to the end user. And for that gets a commission. What we have done in the past with regards to Southwest Valve, where they have provided personnel on a job site to do testing, we give them full credit for that portion of their sub-bid. But for the product that they're providing, since they're not installing it, they are considered a broker.
So any kind of analysis or thought on how, maybe this is something really simple, but if so, then the record can reflect it, but how, when I read Lead's email, they're basically saying, given their circumstance, it's impossible for them to get to the 25% MSM, but Kiewit did. So what's the difference in the two? What's the distinguishing factor?
I can't really speak for Lead, but in my opinion, it would be their desire as to whether or not they wanted to list enough subcontractors to meet the MSM. They, in terms of meeting the MSM, we allow them to meet the MSM through subcontractors performing work on the project, as well as the listing of suppliers and brokers. As you mentioned, Kiewit made the MSM without even listing any suppliers or brokers, and as Lead mentions, Southwest Valve, they could have just as easily listed Southwest Valve as well. When Lead made that comment, staff did look into it to see if there were other ways that Lead could have met the MSM besides subcontracting a portion of the electrical work. And we did confirm with the Bureau of Engineering that the supplies that they would have needed to complete their work for the electrical, that in and of itself, had they listed their supplier, would have put them over the MSM.
Is there, and this can be answered by yourself, Ms. McGlinchey, or Mr. Jordan, do you see concern in if we deviate on occasion from an MSM requirement? Could that lead to the competitive advantage issue that Mr. Jordan raised?
My opinion is it could, especially when the deviation's this big. We have deviated on previous occasions, but it's almost exclusively been where the difference was less than 1%, and more often less than half of a percentage difference. So it was easy to say that there was no competitive advantage gain there.
Would you repeat that?
We have deviated in the past.
Oh, and the smaller percentages, you're saying.
Yes.
It's easier to say there's no competitive advantage. But here, because you have almost 5%, you're more concerned about it.
I am more concerned, especially knowing that it wasn't a matter of their not being able to meet it. They just did not want to make that pledge for the suppliers and be held to it.
Well, colleagues, I tried with Ms. McGlinchey and Mr. Jordan to open an avenue to go to Lead, but I don't think I was able to open the avenue. There were a number of reasons I wanted to try and do it, not just, it's not, it's $50,000 difference, which I would like to save the taxpayers, but I can't create an opening for potential competitive advantages of others in the process, especially when this is one of in the lower range of contracts that we issue. So I tried to find the right road to do it, and I don't think I was successful. Commissioner Davis, anything further?
So in summary, what we have here is we have LEAD on one hand that has included emerging businesses and small business enterprises in their offer, but yet they have failed to create enough mandatory small business in their subcontracting businesses in their proposal on one hand. And on the other hand, we have Kiewit, who did not include the various constituent groups such as emerging businesses, small businesses, minority businesses, disadvantaged businesses, didn't include any of them. And yet at the same time, they had a basket full of OBEs, but yet they had enough of them in which to meet the mandatory subcontracting minimum. So those are the choices before us, correct?
I'd like to mention that based on what I've seen in the bid proposal, it looked like it was the intention of LEAD to meet the MSM using one of their subcontractors called 316 Engineering plus this other entity called Southwest Valve and Equipment. And the intention was to use Southwest Valve and Equipment as a vendor or supplier. This firm is a local representative of the manufacturer of the Rotorque actuators, which is important to note that for this project, the Rotorque actuators are sole sourced for this particular project. There's, I guess, a significant amount of investment that a company goes through to become a local representative, and that may, I don't know how that differs from being a broker, but they are highly educated in the technical aspects of the product, and they provide technical information and specifications about the products, which allows our design teams to make decisions about which is the most correct project for the application.
So you've put a couple of terms to us, the broker versus supplier or vendor. And do I understand that Kiewit is saying Southwest Valve is a vendor supplier and Bureau of Contract Administration is saying that Southwest Valve is, no, it would be LEAD that is saying, because Kiewit's, they're over here. LEAD is saying, hey, Southwest Valve should be considered a vendor/supplier. So, and they're not a broker. So count them towards our MSM? Is that what LEAD is saying?
Essentially, yes. And it's a matter of a supplier gets a higher participation credit in terms of MSM versus a broker. But as I said, we broke down Southwest Valve. So the portion of their sub-bid that they said that they were doing testing using their expertise, they received a full 100% credit for that. It was the actual product that they're ordering from the manufacturer and having delivered that we could only give them broker credit because they simply get a commission for providing that service.
So some credit was given to LEAD for their use of Southwest Valve on the expertise side.
Absolutely, 100%, which is more than the supplier credit. But overall, it's less than what they needed to meet MSM.
Okay, so I'm still unable to get there. Thank you. Thank you both. I would make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 7 as is. I tried to find an avenue to move it to LEAD for a number of reasons, but couldn't. But is there a second on it? Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioners Repenning and Davis, albeit maybe reluctantly. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 7. Any issues sending 7 forthwith? We'll send 7 forthwith. Ms. So, Ms. McGlinchey, thank you both for your helping to explain and clarify the item and get us to where we needed to be. Thank you both. Mr. Mendoza, have we cleared the desk?
That does clear the desk.
Okay, then we are adjourned, everybody.
I'm sorry. It clears the agenda items, but there is one general public comment card that came after you closed.
I closed general public comment before that card came in. Yeah. So the desk is clear?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Thank you. What? Yeah, we did the last one forthwith. Yeah.